And the hats?
The Trump trolling him with 28 hats.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. That's the most important part. There were also the Trump 2028 hats, which I think made the minority leader in both the House and the Senate very uncomfortable.
With the government shut down, many people, federal employees, TSA workers, still on the job while not getting paid. There's so many facets of damage that are being done right now because Republicans are recalcitrant and refused to budge on their insane destruction of the American economy, the American government, and so many other areas, right? That's where we are. And in this moment of dire importance, JD Vance goes on to Fox News and yucks it up like a dipshit, like the dipshit he is, about these Trump 2028 hats that were placed on the desk, the Resolute desk. All of this is just so disrespectful and disgusting to me. That hats communicating that Donald Trump intends to violate the Constitution are placed upon the Resolute desk in the Oval Office of the White House. All for a photo op. Because then the White House photographer was dispatched to take a bunch of photos of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer with these hats in the frame. And JD Vance, hilarious. That's the most important thing, he says. That's the most important part here. There were also Trump 2028 hats, which I think made the minority leader in both the House and the Senate very uncomfortable. That's the most important thing. Not getting the government back open, not getting people back to work, not getting people paid so they can pay their bills, pay their rent, pay their mortgages, buy their groceries to feed their kids. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing was Donald Trump signaling that he wants to violate the Constitution and run for a third term. Great. We're not going to start there, though. We're going to start with JD Vance creating an argument that he says the Democrats have been making that he can argue against, even though no one said the thing that he now says. No one has been saying that we need to shut down the government because Donald Trump was a dictator. No one has said that. But that's what he's claiming and arguing against. And of course, the morons on Fox and Friends, they're not going to push back. They're there to disseminate the propaganda from this regime.
People are going to suffer because of it. I mean, people who benefit from low-income food programs are going to suffer because of this. If you're flying today, I hope, of course, you arrive safely and on time, but you may not arrive on time because the TSA and the air traffic controllers are not getting paid today. Our military is not getting paid today, starting today. And obviously, the longer this drags on, the worse that it is for the American people. So we are where we are. And to your point, what do Senate Democrats ask for? Well, initially, they said that they wanted to shut down the government because Donald Trump was a dictator. Okay, that's absurd. Then they said they wanted to shut down the government because they wanted hundreds of billions of dollars for health care benefits for illegal aliens. That, of course, is also absurd. And now they're saying they just want to work on ensuring that Americans have low-cost health care. Well, I agree with them. Of course, we all want to ensure that Americans have low-cost health care. So let's work together on that.
So when it starts like that, you can just assume that the rest is going to be filled with insane lies, wildly provable, not based in reality conspiracy theories. And that is exactly what he did, talking about healthcare, talking about illegals, talking about all of the other nonsense that is now being spread on Fox News to try to justify what they're doing to hurt Americans. JD Vance, we're getting there to the Trump 2028 hats, but watch this.
Yeah, so this is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens.
It's not even artful what they're doing. They're creating a boogeyman to scare everyday Americans that this is our common foe. It's illegal aliens. It's migrants to this country. It's the brown menace of people coming across the southern border. This is what they want people to believe. So it's not JD Vance who's doing any damage. It's not Mike Johnson. It's not Donald Trump. No. It's those poor, desperate migrants who only want a better life for themselves. It's them that you need to hate. It's them that you need to direct your ire towards. Not us. We're trying to help you. They're the ones stealing from you. It's such a ham-fisted nonsense bullshit. When really, the Republican Party is just here for chaos. It's just here to troll, I guess. And that's in this moment where he says the thing about the Trump 2028 hats being the most important part, he says.
President Trump, he shared some pictures from the Oval Office meeting with Chuck Schumer and with Hakeem Jeffries, with Speaker Johnson and with Thune. And we wanted to ask you about any insight into that meeting, because the last shutdown, Mr. Vice President, was 35 days. Americans can't go, here are the pictures, Americans cannot go that long without getting a paycheck or being furloughed. So can you give us some insight into what they talked about, maybe how we can come to a compromise?
And the hats. The Trump trolling them with 28 hats.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. That's the most important part. There are also the Trump 2028 hats, which I think made the minority leader in both the House and the Senate very uncomfortable.
So which was the most important part? Having the hats there, signaling that you want to run and violate the Constitution, or the fact that you made Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer uncomfortable? Was that the biggest? Was that the most important part? Which thing are you most obsessed with? No, not putting your dick in a couch. Not that, JD. Which part of this are you most obsessed with? Which was the most important part? Explain it. And also, it's not at all what happened. Hakeem Jeffries, he was on last night being asked about those hats. And he told a very different story where JD Vance said, no comment about the hats being there.
When he tried to hand you that Trump 2028 hat, what was your reaction?
Well, actually, he did not try to hand Leader Schumer and I the Trump 2028 hat. They just randomly appeared in the middle of the meeting on the desk. It was the strangest thing ever. And I just looked at the hat, looked at JD Vance, who was seated to my left, and said, "Don't you got a problem with this?" And he said no comment. And that was the end of it.
It is kind of strange living in 2025 in modernity and getting kind of a glance at what Nazi propaganda must have been like. Because they're putting this out hot and heavy with the publishing of these pictures. This was a propaganda moment meant to communicate to the MAGA base, meant to troll or make feel uncomfortable the Democrats in the room, who shouldn't have been there in the first place, by the way, shouldn't have been there in the first place. Why are we negotiating with these Nazi who are disappearing people off the streets of the United States? Why are we stepping into the Oval Office to negotiate with Donald Trump, who yesterday, just moments before they're in the Oval Office with him, he's declaring war and encouraging generals to kill American citizens in the streets of American cities? Why are we negotiating with this? If they want to pass their budget and their continuing resolution, let them do it if they have the votes. Instead, we had two Democrats join to try to advance the agenda of Donald Trump. Fetterman and can't remember the other lady's name. I wish I could say she's unimportant, but she is not unimportant. We need everybody on deck to fight fascism. We can't expect John Fetterman to do the right thing ever. I don't know if it's because of his cognitive issues from his stroke. I don't know. I would like to think that's what it is, and that he's not just a morally bankrupt individual bereft of concern and empathy for Americans. I hope that's what it is. But there's no such cognitive issue with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. If you're going to continue to negotiate with this terrorist, Donald Trump, it tells us all we need to know, and you need to be gone. You need to resign. You need to find somebody else to replace you who's gonna have the stomach for the fight. Otherwise, we're just surrendering to fascism. Again, I think third day in a row, I've criticized Democrats. Third day in a row, I'll probably get criticism for it. But I'm not here to coddle the Democratic Party. I'm here to save America. I'm here to convince you to fight for our country. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. We can have it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it. You can also call, leave me a very brief voicemail. Please keep them brief. 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Thank you very much. Please go follow and like the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily. Make sure you're subscribed right here on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. And if you want to help support this work financially for $2 a month, you can do just that. Help me produce these videos and reach the tens of millions of people that I do every single month. You can be a part of that. Click the join button below this video on YouTube, or you can go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast and help support this work that way too. I love and appreciate you, even if you're disagreeing with me. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your engagement. Thank you for continuing to move the conversation forward. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.